But at the same time, for example, today I have 3 teachers out sick, and so I'm running around doing a bit of everything. So I'm super happy I was able to make it today.
And please nominate the next person.
Sorry, I'll nominate Santa.
All right, I'm feeling like number 4 currently. I'm nervous at the same time. And it has been like super hectic week for us teachers because it's like closing the term. But all in all, once the whole thing is over, I think so the yellow bucket will be off. I would like to nominate Zaleha. Did we lose Zaleha? Oh dear.
If you're unable to speak, someone else can jump in, or feel free also to write how you're feeling in the chat if you don't want to speak up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I feel like ship number 6.
I see Zaliha's connection is unfortunately not stable. So I think I would invite someone else to jump in if you want to share how you're feeling today.
I'll jump in. Hello, everyone. This is Bipana here. So I'm feeling like sheep number 9. I don't know why. Today has been a day like full of a lot of stuff's going on in my life. So I'm like jumping, but I don't know for what reason. I'm like just like, trying to live up to the life without any reason. I don't have any reason to be happy, yet I'm happy. Like the reason is okay, we are here. But then other than that, I've been like trying to make up my happy mood for some days without any reason. So yeah, sheep number 9, and I'm really glad and excited to be here. Yeah, so I'll pass on the floor to Monica.
Yes, gladly. I consider myself today to be sheep number 9. I'm excited to see all of you. And it's your closing ceremony, so I'm happy. I'm like bouncing in the meadow. And I nominate Paul.
Oh, hello, everyone. Good afternoon, Ghana. I hope I'm loud and clear. I also feel like sheep number 9 because apart from today being our ceremony to end everything, I also recently left law school with a first class honors. And so it is super exciting. That was just last time. So exactly 1 week from now, it was a very special moment. And 1 week later, I'm walking right into another ceremony. So I feel extremely elated and excited about the future.
Would you want to nominate someone, Paul? Congratulations, by the way. Congrats.
Okay, I will nominate Bipana. I think she just spoke, right?
Yeah,
Bipana, you just spoke. So
we haven't heard Sarah or Mohammed. Yeah.
So Mohammed, yes.
Yeah, hello everyone. Actually, I can choose number 9 because today is snowing day in Switzerland, and it seems like I played today at the morning with my neighbors in the snow. So yeah, that's how I feel today. Like this, the picture number 9. So I can pass also to. I'm not sure if someone participated recently, but maybe Sarah.
Yes, thank you. So I must admit, I started the day like number 5, but now I'm feeling very much like number 9. I'm happy to be here, to see you all. I've seen some of you recently, but it's been a while since I've met some others of you. So I'm very excited to be here and to, explore how our projects went. So I'm very, very happy. Number 9, definitely. And I'll pass the floor to, let me see who's left. Done. What about Philip?
Sure, I'll go ahead. I'd say I'm a number 8. I interpret that as a laughing sheep, sort of like a big smile on its face. That's me today, seeing all of your lovely faces. And I would pass on to Linda. I believe, Linda, you've not spoken yet, correct? Linda, I believe you're muted still. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I started this day as the number 4 because I felt like there was a whole bucket covering my head. The feelings were so much. I didn't know how to put my emotions together. But now I'm actually feeling like a 6, feeling all happy. It's a celebration, and I'm seeing my flowers all over, and I'm excited to see you all. Thank you.
I think we can slowly move on to the agenda, and I'll pass on to the floor to Philip, and the ones of you who have not said how they're feeling today yet can still write in the chat.
Thank you so much, Anna. So once again, a very, very, very warm welcome from all of us here at the Ban Ki-moon Center. It's such an honor and pleasure to see all of you again. This is just a quick overview of what we've prepared for you today. I'll provide a very, very quick recap, but I'll keep my comments to a very short minimum, as we want to give as much time to you and hear about the journeys you've traversed over the last couple of months. But after this quick recap, I'll hand over to our CEO of the Ban Ki-moon Center, Monika Fröhler, who will welcome you and reflect on the journey. We are also very fortunate and happy to have our co-chair, Dr. Fischer, with us today, who's also wanted to congratulate you. We will then have opportunity to take a quick group picture. Then we will hear from 3 participants who will go into a bit more detail about their projects, after which we'll open up the floor for sort of key takeaways and for all of you to chip in and share your key outcomes, outputs, highlights, potentially lowlights with us. And then that will be it, and we'll wrap up. Yeah, without much further ado, next slide, please. Thank you, Anna. So this is just an overview of the entire program. And as you can see, it's been quite a ride since we first met and convened all the way back in May. Back then, we were all getting to know each other. Some of you had already worked extensively in the field of global citizenship education. Some others had for some others, it was their first contact point, touch point with the subject matter. But as we went through a series of roundtables and expert workshops, we built up knowledge and expertise together. And then it was up to all of you to come up and develop your own individual GCED micro projects, which you've consequently put into action. And from the reports we've been receiving and which are still coming in, it's just fascinating to see what you've come up with, what you've achieved in such a short time. And you can see here the line is open-ended with an arrow pointing east. And what that means is this is not the end of the journey, because we very much hope for you to continue the work, for us to continue our collaboration, to stay in touch. but we'll talk about that later on. Next slide, please, Anna. Just as a very quick reminder, lest we forget the 17 SDGs, all of your projects will have tackled at least one of them. So these are the framework that brought us all together. This is the framework why the Ban Ki-moon Center exists. And we're delighted and happy that this has been the platform on which we could all converge. And with that, I would straight away like to hand over to our first speaker, our CEO, Monika Fröhler. Monika, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear global citizens, dear Heinz Fischer, it's lovely to see all of you gathered here today at this very celebratory kind of moment. It's a ceremony to close learners to leaders. And I'm wondering, ladies and gentlemen, whether you thought that this program was to basically turn you as learners to leaders. And I would assert that's not the case. You were leaders in the first place. And indeed, let me probably start with a story, and I hope that that story resounds with you. I was 15 years old and my English was really bad. Bad to the extent that I thought, okay, I would probably not pass the next major exam in English. But I had one English teacher and her name was Monika by chance as well. She was called Monika Neve. And she really believed in me. And she said, Monika, right now there is a competition going on in Austria and all of the schools are searching for someone to represent Austria in the Youth European Parliament. And I think you should try to sit that exam. And I was like, oh my God, me, the only delegate of my school sitting that exam, my English is not good enough. And she said, believe me, you will succeed. And I was gathered with others in this room. I really did it. So I registered for this exam and I was gathered with others in the room and they were, you can't imagine how fluent in how many languages. They were conversing in French and in Spanish and in English and they were head girls of their schools and head boys of their school. And there I was pretty shy sitting with my 15 years, just shaking my head and saying, I will not manage to get into that delegation. I was almost the last to get to the hearing. And I answered the questions, I think, okay, with broken English, but I even challenged the jurors. I was asking questions back that made one of the jurors laugh because he wasn't used to someone asking a question back. And I went home and I remember I told my parents, I did not succeed in this. 2 weeks later, I got a call telling me, we chose you. You're part of the delegation of the European Youth Parliament. And I shouted of joy, like I was, oh my God, I can go to Spain, Granada with other young Europeans and we will all like discuss political matters. I was thrilled. And it was pretty much Monika Neve's incentive, but also her belief in me that made me attempt this at all. I wouldn't have done it. And indeed, I think I wouldn't be today where I am in a multilateral sphere, would it not have been for this one person that believed in me. And why am I telling you this story? I hope that in your life, you will be that person for many, many people. And I know that you probably already are. To me, you are not the learners that are turned to leaders, but to me, you are the ones that will turn learners to leaders because you will be these people for hopefully many other youngsters. And watching the WhatsApp group that you have all shared over the past weeks and months, I sense that this has actually already become a reality. I know how inspirational your projects are, and I want to thank you. My deepest gratitude goes, of course, to you, but also to Korea Foundation that made this whole program possible. And I do want to also thank those that helped us in the roundtables and workshops like Irina Bokova, the former director of UNESCO, or Jack Davis, who really, I think, was inspirational with his interaction with you. And I believe that the roundtables and the workshops, for all of you, somehow inspired you to do maybe even a bit more than you were planning initially. As you probably know, we chose you from a staggering 266 applicants, and you were the chosen 15 that we then put together as a group, and hopefully you experience something like new forming friendships across continents. It's amazing that you come from such diverse backgrounds. We are proud that we have representatives from Algeria, Cameroon, Ghana, India, Kenya, Malaysia, Nepal, Nigeria, Singapore, Syria, and the US amongst you. So I think, if I counted correctly, that's 11 different nationalities with 15 participants. That's awesome. So again, big thanks to all of the effort, all of the heart that you poured into this overall journey with us. We do hope that it continues. And I do also hope that you will change lives. You will turn learners to leaders one by one and be the inspiration that I had the pleasure of receiving when I was 15. I'm sure you will do the same to many other people. So thanks a lot for your dedication, and over to Heinz Fischer.
Well, thank you, Monica, for giving me the floor. And of course, first of all, I want to greet all of you, dear colleagues, dear change makers, dear friends. And I saw that you are all in a very good mood. And while you were choosing sheep, I was thinking which one I would choose. And I must say they were all too young for me, because I'm born in 1938, and I don't think that there is any sheep over the world which reaches such an age. But it was a good introduction and a good joke at the very beginning. And although I worked 5 years together with Monica, I never heard her story when she got the choice and whether she was selected, although she didn't believe that she would manage it. And she had problems with English, although today her English is really brilliant. I had, so to say, similar problems, because I went to a school where the first language was ancient Greek, Homer, Ilias, Odyssey, Plato, Socrates, etc. And the second language was Latin, Austria olim provincia Romana erat, and only volunteering, the third language was English. And after that school, when I started with university, my English was very poor. And so I went to London to work in the Anglo-Austrian Society, and that helped me a lot for the further development. I went to politics, and I liked it very much. I was particularly interested in foreign policy and international relations. I traveled really a lot, from Cuba to China, and from Norway to South Africa, and from Chile to Kazakhstan or whatever. And you can learn a lot from visiting other countries. Then I was speaker in the Austrian parliament, and for 12 years I was president. And then came the time when Ban Ki-moon, who was a good friend of mine, stopped his second term. His second term ended in the United Nations, and my second term ended also in Austria. And we said, why don't we work together? Why don't we join our efforts? And found the Ban Ki-moon Center in Vienna, with a branch in Seoul, in Korea, and other office in New York, and to work in the interest of the Sustainable Development Goals, to work in particular for young change makers, to work to empower women, of course, to support peace, to support the SDGs and the United Nations. And I can tell you, it is a very satisfying activity. It's not for Ban Ki-moon and for myself, it's not a profession, but it's a great interest. It's a hobby. It's not good enough to describe that even if you have finished your active professional career, you want to do something useful. You want to contribute to our development in the world. And if I look at the daily political development in Ukraine, in Gaza Strip, in the border, in the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, if I look on economic developments, if I look on many wars over the world, on inflation, on unemployment, then I have the feeling there is a lot to do. And we in the Ban Ki-moon Center, we try to contribute as good as we can to reasonable developments, to help young people, to encourage them, to give an example how to work for peace and against poverty, and to make people independent and to take their own decision over their life. And as I was told, and as I'm informed, all these activities may be a little drop on a hot stone. But if you have enough drops, the stone may start to cool down. And that's our activities. And we are not the only ones, but we are particularly engaged. We are posted mainly in Vienna, a neutral country, which has a center of the United Nations. Besides Geneva, there are only 2 in Europe and only 4 worldwide. And therefore, we feel that we have a good place, a good headquarter for our activities. And as we acknowledge your outstanding achievements, it's really heartening and makes me happy to witness how you embody the diverse and dynamic nature of global citizenship education. And your projects and accomplishments underscore the dedication and impact you have had throughout this program. The power of global collaboration is truly at the core of this initiative. And reflecting on the impact and sustainability of the Learners to Leaders program, we see the emergence of a cohort of 15 individuals, as we were told before, equipped with the skills and knowledge to contribute significantly to the field of global citizenship education. This, in essence, is an investment in a more sustainable and interconnected global future. And as we have the conference in Dubai on environment questions just in these days, we can see and feel and learn every day how difficult, but how important these goals are and our achievements in this field. I want to thank you for your participation. I want to thank our team from the Ban Ki-moon Center, and I wish you very, very, very well individually and as global citizens in your country and on our planet. All the best to you. Thank you very much. In Vienna, we would say, vielen Dank, alles Gute.
Thank you. Thank you very much for these inspiring words, Dr. Fischer. We will now have a moment to take a group picture. And for that, we would kindly ask all of you who can to turn on their cameras and present yourself from your most smiling, joyful side. And I believe Anna will count us down.
I think Katarina, our comms communication specialist, is in charge of this task. So I will pass it on to her. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm also very excited for this closing ceremony, and I'm going to take a group picture. So I'm going to count to 3 and give us your biggest smile. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And let's take another one. We usually do a fun interactive one. So everybody do your version of a heart. In Korea, it's this one. So yeah, do your own version or whatever, what kind of version you want to do. So I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katerina. And now I will pass over to Anna.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Katerina. Now we have the 3 presentations from our participants from the cohort. And I would like to invite Shanta to present the first. I will share the presentation in a second, but I will first briefly introduce her. Even though you probably all know her very well by now. Shanta is an English teacher from Malaysia who is, with her project, who's trying to make education about SDGs accessible to children by means of playing and introducing games to teaching methods. And I will share the presentation in a second. I hope you can see it, and I'll pass on to Shanta.
Good day, everyone. So I'm just waiting for the screen to load. There it is. So a good evening, distinguished guests from Malaysia. My name is Santa. So the project title would be Arts and Play by my school team. Those two are my top students who performed very well this year in all the subjects. Next slide, please. So oh yeah. Okay. So I'm basically the head of Department of English and Arts in the school. I'm the project officer of partnerships and events at Global Schools program as well. And I'm a co-founder of an environmental education playbook called Deria. So my team under another organization called YCLE and the US Department of States, we actually won a grant for COP26 pre-event. So we managed to create a playbook on climate science education, communicating climate science education. So this whole project was based on Darius backbone. So I was just thinking that, rather than going far, finding young people to help me out with the project, why don't I start with my own school children? So my school is a national type school. In Malaysia, we have 3 different types of school, the normal schools and the national type. So this particular school is a Chinese medium primary school based in a very small community called Sawok. We have 40 students, 10 teachers, and only 6 staff members. And this school has a very strong community bond where every single activity is done together with the people there. However, they're not exposed to the world outside, besides their gadget that they have been using since COVID. So I would love to introduce SDG and GSET by arts and play. So we had teachers development program and even school activities. Next slide, please. So my own history of teaching SDGs integrated in English lessons started in 2016. I created poems and we participated in action song competitions in 2 different other schools, and it moved up me being an advocate at Global Schools and being a program manager at Deria. And then came COVID. So I still continued teaching GSET and SDGs. And then fortunate enough, I was at TESS last year to learn more about it. Unfortunately, I was not there this year, but the L2L program has been, a stepping stone for me when I won the grant. So the chronology of the whole project was forming a team. I had to work alone even though my main backbone of advisors were my team of Daria, the Ban Ki-moon team helped me a lot. And one of my challenges was bureaucracy, getting permission to do out of classroom activities. So it was not an easy ride for a couple of months for me. And creating something new to teach SDGs and GSET, especially arts and plays, not easy. So I had to plan the content of the project itself and then create teaching and learning materials and executing it and moving forward. Next slide, please. I'll go a little bit fast because of time. So we had amazing partners and beneficiaries. So thank you so much to the Ban Ki-moon Center and Korea Foundation being my great sponsor. And one of my group advisors from Daria, most of them are not in Malaysia currently. One is under a Chevening scholarship in Cambridge. So, everyone was helping me out. And my Global Schools Program team, Amanda, and my partnership team, they helped me out. The team at the UNSDS and Asia team, they were giving me ideas. And another good friend of mine from the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, she created an organization called TILI. So GSET had this idea of integrating social emotional aspects in learners. So TILI is like a board game, is a card game in asking students emotions around life problems around them. How do you solve them? How do you feel? So my main beneficiary was definitely the school and activity partners. I was fortunate enough to be with the district education team, and we did programs with that. And other contributors were Arts at Penang. So I managed to visit the team as well as Lego Foundation. Lego's Foundation Play Toolkit is one amazing toolkit that all of you have to look at it. They have very good ideas and very good research papers, questionnaires for you to go through and run those projects. Next slide, please. So the first part that we did was teacher professional development. So I was just thinking that rather than me doing the extra hard work besides my own normal teaching and learning sessions every day, I used the opportunity during UNESCO ESDNet learning webinar, where I was one of the trainers. I used the Daria playbook to gather as many teachers to come up with play lesson plans, arts and play lesson plans. And I will be able to share with you the Padlet later. These are all the play-based activities that teachers were able to do within 2 hours of webinar. So that was an amazing work. And I was reading one by one, and they have amazing ideas. And I was just thinking that, yes, we can teach GSET and SDGs through play. It shouldn't be very rigid. I know the words are, so high to be taught in primary school. So how do I lower it down? And I remember what Darcy told, the school is the best place to start. So I was fortunate enough to, get that opportunity. And these ideas will be used further in research papers. And next slide, please. The next one is Arts at Penang is an organization, is a non-profit organization which is based in Penang, Malaysia. They do a lot of culture immersion activity for school students. They have these pamphlets talking about how does an uncle at the shop creates his biscuit. So they do excursion and go and learn the whole biscuit making culture, like a field trip. And they, have very good booklets. So I was grateful enough to meet the team. They interviewed me for their next project, and I went down to Penang to see their work. That was an amazing experience in Penang. Penang itself is full of culture and GSET elements that everyone should visit and learn one day. So there were two parts of teachers' professional development. Moving on. So going into the students' activity itself, rather than creating brand new activities, I was thinking like, this school has a community, strong community. I love the word community for the past few months. It just did stick to me for a long time. The first activity that we had was recycling activity at the school. So students were actually taught how to sort out the trash, recycle, and then a recycling personnel came forward, bought all their trash and rewarded them with money to, raise their own class fund, which they'll be using it tomorrow for their Children's Day celebration. And the school also conducted a clean school program under the Ministry of Education. So every school had to go through this program, and we were given extra grants to buy the materials. And the students' behavior changed automatically the next few weeks. Everyone started cleaning their classrooms more. They wanted to win the weekly competition that we had. And then we had GSET games. So during the National Day, Independence Day celebration, so we wanted the kids to learn cultural games, and we rewarded them with more, fun stationaries. And those are actually my students and my teachers being part of it. So next slide, please. All right, the next one is getting into learning the culture around you. Since this is a Chinese vernacular school, I'm an Indian teacher, we have Malay teachers, so we wanted to bring in all the cultures. So we celebrated Chinese New Year, we celebrated Eid, we celebrated Diwali. Unfortunately, we're unable to celebrate Christmas because we are going to go off for a school holiday soon. So we introduced all these festivals to them. We have like a notice board teaching them about every culture, learning, and the students took part so well. They participated in one of the biggest festivals. We had mooncake festivals. They made their own mooncakes with their families. They made their own lantern for lantern festivals. They participated in dance. And then during Diwali, we created column. We introduced all the culture aspects. So this is actually not strange in Malaysia, but for a small school like this to do it is big, because they only have the community at the area around them to support them fully, and teachers, they don't have anything else. And it is mind-blowing to see their effort. Next slide, please. All right, so the next one, we carried on with school camping. We wanted to teach the kids more global citizenship aspects, like responsibility. So students were given very limited resources for their first day dinner. You need to cook with this amount of chicken for a team, this amount of potato, and they stayed at night. So they had to take care of everybody. Everyone was given like a time, 11:30 to 1 a.m., 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., and 3 a.m. to 5 p.m. You need to take care of your friends. We restricted water when they were in the washroom as well. We purposely did all that to teach them that limited resources are around them. So cultural night was fun. And the next one was writing postcards and letters to friends, teaching them SDGs through colors. And the next project will be the Future Cities project with Lego. Next slide, please. All right, one of the most important highlight here is the International Arts and Craft Camp that we had. So it was organized by the Arts Department of the Kuala Kangsar Education District. We collaborated with another community college in 6 international countries. So the children had a 2 days camp. They created batik. They learned weaving. And even the objective was actually to introduce the multiculturalism value through arts and crafts. So this was an amazing event, and we are going to go on a bigger scale next year with more partners. So we hope the Ban Ki-moon Center would be able to join us next year as well. Next slide, please. So basically, the impact was creating awareness and introducing GSET and SDGs. Students were eager to learn English via these activities because I had to use a lot of English, and learning about the culture and background. The school, it was a safe space to do all this, and it was always positive, and children loved to contribute and taking the lead forward. The future plans were actually next year, we are going to do the Future City Lego project. And this whole project is going to be like in research on arts and play learning, and presenting the work to a larger audience. And hopefully we can win more grants and present it at the Summit for the Future next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanta, so much for your presentation. Your project is truly incredible, but let's listen to another one, another person from the cohort who is Paul this time. And Paul is Paul is from Ghana, and his project is the Green Vanguard, where he combines so many different elements and sub-projects, which was very surprising to me. Working with, for instance, access to technology, farming, and at school facilities, garbage collection, etc. And over to you, Paul. I will share the presentation in a second, and I will please kindly ask you to stay within the 5-minute limit because we are running out of time.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much once again, Ban Ki-moon Center, for this really incredible opportunity. And first of all, I'll start by saying congratulations to all my friends. If I'm loud and clear, maybe a quick emoji so that I can move on. Okay, so I will refer to every kind of protocol that has been laid already and just start my presentation. I was very honored to have started an idea called the Green Vanguard together with a couple of friends, educators, and community activists in the small community of Ayikuma here in Ghana. And what we started is about a transformational social and behavioral change agenda that will include digital literacy, climate education, and sustainable agriculture in underserved communities. The Ayikuma community where I stay does not have access to these things. So we thought about how to include them in there. I am a change leader from Ghana, and I have always been heavily invested into youth empowerment, literacy, and sustainable living. So this project meant so much to me. Now, our goal for this project was to enhance digital literacy, promote education in terms of our climate, and then foster sustainable agriculture practices, especially for young people. Next slide, please. So the issues we were hoping to address in the community of Ayikuma and 4 other settler communities was limited actually in terms of girls. So this is a gender responsive idea to encourage more girls to have access to digital literacy. We also wanted to help people understand what the whole thing about this climate change is about, because it was shocking to realize that a lot of people in the community were, facing the adverse effects of the change in climate, but they were not aware that this was the situation. So we thought of trying to provide some education and context on it. We also introduced the children to sustainable agriculture, and we ended up coming up with an exciting idea to bring it to life. And I'll talk about that in the subsequent slides. And the reason why we decided to look at these areas is because of the staggering statistics we have from UNICEF. So over 250 million children lack digital resources, and 250,000 additional deaths annually from anything that relates with climate-related issues. We thought that these were really concerning, and so it was important for us to start helping to address these challenges one community at a time. Next slide, please. So we engaged the children in digital literacy, climate education, and sustainable agriculture. And we position it in Ayikuma, Dodowa, and Bogbojiri. These are heavily underserved communities in Ghana. And we wanted to introduce them to all these things, especially the issue of climate change, because somehow the people in the community are facing the harsh effect of this situation. And we engaged schools, we engaged youth, we engaged smallholder farmers, and in a much bigger context, the local community. Next slide, please. So we faced certain challenges. It was difficult to access digital resources because the community is heavily focused on rote learning, and so there was no exposure to digital resources. But thanks to our ongoing collaboration with Microsoft, we were able to receive digital education to especially girls in the community. It was also very difficult to build a new narrative about the real effect of climate change, because the people in the community here did not understand what climate change is about. However, or yet they were facing the harsh effect because most of the people stay in they stay in areas that are quite flood prone. And whenever it rains, the children are not able to go to school. Market women are not able to go to the market. And it brings everything to a standstill. So these people were experiencing the harsh effects of this climate change, but they did not know or did not have the education and awareness of the situation. We also had issues with getting people to help us expand this idea to a larger community, but we were able to also adapt to most of these challenges by having in-person workshops instead of online workshops. We also had community building events, and we also brought people together and partnered with them to expand it beyond just Aikuma to other communities. Next slide, please. So our key outcomes we saw, especially rating them. So for the 15 girls, 4 of them are able to create games using coding, and there is increased awareness on the importance of remaining safe online. They have understood what cyberbullying is, and we also managed to use digital literacy to help them understand mental health and anything that has to do with their education. We also leveraged the digital resources to teach about the climate. So we downloaded videos from YouTube and helped the children watch them to understand what was indeed going on in the community. We also engaged the children in sustainable agricultural practices. So for the community of Aikuma, where we had most of our activities, there was a school called Stages Academy. We started a new program under the Green Vanguard called Farm to Feed, where we encouraged or we support the schools to grow the food that the children will eat in the school. By so doing, we are bringing the children to the field to learn about how to grow their own food and how to bring about sustainability into a real life scenario. We also engage the wider community, including smallholder farmers and community leaders about this project. Next slide. It is very heartwarming to know that we made impacts on our beneficiaries. As you can see from the picture, these laptops are brand new Microsoft laptops from our ongoing collaboration with Microsoft. And it's wonderful to see girls learn about coding, learn about online gaming, and we're able to learn how to stay safe online. And we witnessed these impacts, especially not just on the laptop, but on the farm. So these students learned how to convert waste in the environment into smart ideas to farm and grow their own food. So this farm is right behind the school, and it was wonderful to see fruits and vegetables from the farm being brought to the school kitchen to feed the children. And yes, next slide. And our results and achievements in terms of our sustainable agriculture program, the Farm to Feed program, we were able to anchor it in the school, and we were able to have students from the school learn the practical aspect of farming and also engage in sustainable agriculture and learn how important it is, not just to the school, but to the bigger community. So our plan for the future is that this sustainable Farm to Feed program will go ahead and, not just provide feeding for the children, but if we have surplus food, we'll sell it to the local community market and raise funds to support learning and teaching in the school. We were also able to engage a cumulative 150 students in gender responsive programs in digital literacy and sustainable agriculture. We also have an online social media engagement right now on Instagram and on Twitter or X. And we managed to engage the children in sustainable environmental events to clean up the environment, to get gallons and upcycle them into useful things in the community. Next slide. So our hopes for the future is we want to continue to scale the Farm to Feed project to at least 4 other schools in the community, so that in the not too distant future, at least 70% of their feeding needs will come from the farm. And so that is a really important part of what we are hoping to do. We also want to continue to upcycle environmental waste in the communities of Aikuma, in at least 4 communities. And we want to continue to expand digital learning to the children and to an additional 200 more students in 2024. We also want to continue to pilot a model where the Farm to Feed project will, finance education and youth empowerment in Ghana. Next slide. So thank you so much. If you are happy to try and connect with us on social media, we have an active presence on X and on Instagram. It was wonderful doing this project. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Paul, for the great presentation. And we will have to move on to our last, third highlight speaker for today, Asmao, who is a passionate teacher and educator from Nigeria, advocating for just transition. And her project is called My Plastic, My Seed, where she uses recycles plastic bottles to make seeds for school communities. I will show the presentation in a moment, and I am passing the floor over to Asmao.
Hello everyone. Thank you for having me. Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Asmao from Nigeria. I had an opportunity to implement the project called My Plastic, My Seed in Nigeria, Kaduna State. Next slide, please. As you can see, this is the logo of the project, and the aim of the project, the goal is to repurpose waste, plastic waste bottles, and use them to construct an eco-friendly outdoor relaxation setting in a government secondary school. Most times I see this kind of project executed in private schools. I try to use the opportunity to take the project to a government setting. Next slide, please. Okay, the project is divided into 3 main activities. We have 3 main activities. We had an workshop, construction of the seat, and excursion to a recycling company. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the workshop we had on waste management and to educate the community on the 3 R's of sustainability. Next slide. Yes, these are some of the volunteer students that we use during this program, and they were narrating their own experience, how they source for the bottles, how they pick the bottles in the community. Next slide. Yes, students sharing experience on how they manage individual wastes. So we had an opportunity for students to say their own way of managing wastes, their little way. Next slide. Okay, we had an opportunity during the workshop to honor some partners. We had a lot of partners in the workshop. We honor them with some gifts that are eco-friendly as well. This is a tote bag that we are given to a representative from the Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Next slide, please. So construction of the seats, that was the second thing that we used. So this is the architectural design. We had a partnership with Developmental Association for Renewable Energy here in Kaduna, and they were the ones that helped us to design the seats. Next slide. So community members digging the foundation while students were watching and gaining practical skills. A lot of community went attended during the digging and construction of the foundation, and they were able to learn a lot of skills about how to do this kind of project. Next. And these are some of the students that were compacting PET bottles with laterite. They are compact. These are male students, and these are the female students using they are sieving the laterite. So while they sieve the laterite, the other students are compacting the bottles with rods. Next slide, please. So these are also experience sharing moments by students during the time they were doing the project. Next slide. So this is the 3 pillar of the 6. As you look at it, 1, 2, 3. For each pillar, we use 99 bottles. When you multiply it by 3, you get 297 bottles used for the pillars to construct the pillars. So this is the site for where the students have their break. So it's just like a social center for the students. Next slide, please. This is the wall of the seats. As you can see, it's given a C shape. So, and students are having a sight of it. Next slide, please. So this is how the project has been completed. If you look at it from the view. Next slide. So this is when we launched the project. A lot of people in the community came to witness it. And these are the volunteers that sourced for the bottles. We had a lot of bottles that we gathered, but we used 1,221 bottles. Next slide. So this is the excursion to a recycling company. If you look at it now, students are looking at a house built with bottles, PET bottles. It's a complete house used and with thatch roof. This, if you look at it, it's eco bricks used with sand and waste ladders. Next slide, please. So if you look at this one, students are looking at solar cooker. So they use it it is used to cook food, a lot of things. They were able to see other vegetation, nature, fish ponds. Next slide. So the impact that we have made, 202,300 students have been reached, practical skills, acquisition, strong commitment from the government, community members, and students. Because a lot of community members suggested that we are to even construct a library in the school using those PET bottles. And yes, cementing partnership among different stakeholders. What we intend to do now is to even plant a tree around the areas of the seats so that people could have a shade when they are sitting down. Next slide, please. So the challenges that I encountered during the project, yes, the rain during the projects. It was a rainy season around May, August to September, so I was not able to start implementing the project on time because of the rain. So I used the waiting period to plan a lot of things. And the second thing was the price hike as a result of fuel subsidy in my community. So what I did for the price hike was to leverage on partnership and individual donation. Yes, I went through a lot of stress. That was the next thing, through a lot of stress for this project, but I tried to collaborate with people and volunteers. Next slide, please. So the next step, what I'm looking at is to collaborate with community members to plant a tree, as I mentioned, at the relaxation trees to just provide a shade for it. And the second thing is to explore other areas of waste management, like eco bricks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asmao, and thank you to the whole cohort, because these 3 projects have been selected among a number of incredible projects that you have made and implemented. So it was a very difficult choice, and I think more of your projects would just not fit into the agenda, but it would be incredible to hear about how everything went. And now I know that we are running out of time and some of you will have to leave. So I want to share a small surprise from the Pan-Ki-moon Center. It's a sneak peek into the thing itself, but we have been working on illustrations to illustrate, to showcase showcase your projects and promote them on our social media and provide you the illustrations themselves so that you can have them for any purposes to represent your projects and to have something, so to say, tangible from at the end of our journey. So, and a small reminder right away, we are still waiting for a couple of final reports, and the 5 illustrations that you see here are represent the 5 people that submitted their reports first. So a huge thank you and congratulations to those of you who have finalized their projects and hopefully are continuing them in the future anyways. And yeah, I'll pass over to for some final remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. We are indeed mindful of time. So I would, at this point, and just stress, first and foremost, that this is not the end of our journey. It's only really the beginning. And we are super excited what's in store for all of you. But perhaps I'll hand to Monica for some very final words. I would, at this point, express my sincerest gratitude and thank you to all of you. It's been such an incredible and immense pleasure to work with you. And I couldn't have asked for a better cohort. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks so much. I know we are stretching your time. Several of you have to leave, but I would love to just get one last question answered. And that is by show of either hand or otherwise, who of you believes that they will continue with their project even after this closing ceremony? Please do raise your hand, give us a heart or a little whatever sign. Yes, some thumbs up. Some thumbs up. Yay! I love to see that. Thank you so much. This is great. I do know that you're all passionate and compassionate global citizens. Don't be strangers. Let us know what you're up for. We would always like to draw back on you, on your expertise. Submit your reports so we can feature you, because otherwise we can't feature you and we can't even create the illustrations. So please still do that. And we are very much looking forward that our paths cross again, because as you know, you always meet twice in life, and I'm sure that many of us will see each other one way or the other. So thanks again, heartfelt thanks from our side. Feel celebrated and much congratulated for all that you have achieved. Thanks for being with us and now counting officially to the Ban Ki-moon Center family of our alums. See you around and have a great day. Merci. Bye-bye. Gracias, Dankeschön. Ciao, shukran.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Marta. Goodbye, Selina.